Hello again. We are going to continue our discussion of Chapter 1 of Algebra 1 by talking about relations and what those are and how we can use those. First of all, let's define what an ordered pair is. That is a set of numbers called coordinates, and they're in the form x comma y inside parentheses. The x-coordinate is going to be the first number in that ordered pair, and it's going to represent the horizontal placement of a point on the xy plane. The y-coordinate is going to be the vertical placement of that same point. A relation is just a set of all of those ordered pairs. That's all it is. A bunch of x's and y's paired together. A mapping is going to be another illustration of a relation, and it just shows how each x-coordinate is paired or mapped with each y-coordinate using arrows. The domain of a relation is going to be all the x's, the first numbers in the ordered pairs, and the range is going to be the second numbers in the ordered pairs. So there's a bunch of ways that you can represent a relation. One is using those ordered pairs that we talked about. So an x of 0 maps with a y of 2. An x of 1 is paired with a y of 3, and an x of negative 2 is paired with a y of 4. I could also put those in a table. Same ordered pairs, 0 and 2, 1 and 3, negative 2 and 4. I could graph those, and you'll notice that for each of those points, the horizontal placement is in the x column and the vertical placement is in the y column. So 0 and 2 goes across 0 spaces and up 2. 1 and 3 goes across 1 space and up 3, and negative 2 and 4 goes back 2 spaces, left 2 spaces, and up 4. So that's how you can show those on a graph. And then a mapping is just the same x's and y's with an arrow from each x to each y. Okay, then we talk about independent versus dependent. The independent variable is the one that is input into the relation, and that's usually the x. Between x and y, the independent variable is the x, and the dependent variable would be the y. That's the output, so what you get after you plug in an x into a relation. So independent, x, domain, horizontal, all of those are grouped together. Dependent, y, range, and vertical, all of those are grouped together. Okay. Finally, let's talk about the graph of a relation. And so here's the graph, and here's what's happening. There's a woman driving her car, and we need to describe what's happening in the graph. So we've got time going across the bottom and distance going up the y-axis, or just vertical. So first, if we look at the first part of that graph, as time increases, distance also increases. So what that means is the woman is driving. Her distance is increasing over time. Now at the horizontal line, time still moves forward, but the distance is staying constant. That means that she has stopped. And then finally, time is increasing still, and distance begins to increase again, so that means that the woman is continuing to drive. So we're going to have to know how to read a graph of a relation by looking at what's going on the horizontal axis and what's going on in the vertical axis. That's the last thing I wanted to talk about with relations. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will see you tomorrow.